Hi everyone, my name is Jasmine and I had a supernatural encounter with God in my room, and it is now 95 days since I was saved. And right now I'm going over the second part of this beautiful testimony of my dear friend Alan that I met at the gas station and his beautiful story of salvation. So getting into Alan's story about what he was going through prior to him getting on the street. So then I started asking him about his family life. Like, do you have any brothers and sisters? How about your mom? How about your dad? How are they with you? And his mom, he said, was very cold with him, very mean, very just always like, he was afraid to be around her because every time he was around her, he knew that she was going to get upset at him about something. So always kind of in this state of fear, of rejection, of a love where it's like, if you do something wrong, I'm taking that love away from you, right? And his dad, I can't remember too much about his dad, but I don't think his dad was super present. If I'm remembering now, he kind of was almost just like there, but didn't really teach him didn't teach him about the Lord, didn't teach him how to be a man, didn't show him love and affection. So what he was really lacking was a lot of love and affection. Hold on. So as he's telling me this, it just really touched my heart because, and for any homeless person, this is something I explained to my dad years ago and before I was saved. It was like, because I had worked with the homeless when I was in college a little bit. And we got to learn their stories, and there's always a story. There's always something why they ended up where they're at. It's not like somebody just wakes up one day and decides, I don't want to have a home, I don't want to have food, I don't want to have clothes. There's something that got into such a broken state that made them feel like giving up or powerless or led them to drugs or alcohol. And so when you learn their story, it helps you to have compassion because, by the grace of God, thank God, even though I went through stuff as a kid with my family, there was enough good that I didn't end up, continuing drinking when I was younger or trying even harder drugs, by the grace of God, literally, because any of us could have been like that. Any of us could have been born into a family like that. So it's always just an important thing to remember, to have compassion for them. So when he's telling me the story, my heart was just like, because I could see and feel how he was just craving that love from his mom and dad that he never got. And so, I shared with him about, my testimony and my experience with the Lord and how I felt very similar to him in certain ways, and craving a certain type of love. Like, even though my mom and my dad loved me, and they did their best that they could, they absolutely did with what they had and what they knew, there was still a certain type of love that I feel like I was needing, that I didn't quite receive at times. And, even from relationships, I share that with him, not getting the love that I felt that I needed or deserved. And so, I actually was delivered in my big deliverance from the spirit of abandonment and rejection. So I absolutely knew what Alan was going through. And I shared with him how that pain, that is something that we carry, but we don't have to carry that forever. And that actually when you come to the Lord and you give your life to him, that he takes all of that from you and you get to experience his love. And that love that we are craving so desperately from somebody else, whether it's family or friend or partner, it can never come from them. It can never come from them. You can have a great parents and great partner, and you'll get like an amazing love, and that's a beautiful blessing. But no matter what, that love that we're really truly craving, that we are created to experience and to be in communion with, is the love of the Lord. And so people often say they have like a God-shaped hole or a Jesus-shaped hole in their heart, because without it, and I said this to someone the other day that I was ministering to, because he said himself that he was feeling that. And I'm like, yeah, it's real. I said, and if you don't have the love of Jesus, of Christ in your heart, you're not happy. You're not fulfilled. And I was like, and anybody could fight me on that. Fight me. because I know, because I was there when I did it, and I have his love now, and every day I'm more and more getting to experience and learning what that kind of love is, because it's not anything like of this world. The love that he has is there's no limits to his love. It's a love that just, again, it is so different and so much greater than anything that somebody can give us. So we don't have that. It does hurt. It hurts so much. And if we don't have the Lord's love on top, that's what the Lord is having me remember or think about. If we don't have his love, coupled with the fact that we aren't getting that love from our parents, the way that, it's intent that God created them to be with us and treat us and love us, then it's just magnified, that hole and that void that we feel. So, I just was ministering to him and letting him know that there is hope. There is, and I was feeling like he was tired, right? He's tired of being up there. He's tired. He was talking about how that's what he was trying to do. He was trying to sleep on the ground, but it's so cold. When the cement is in the shade, it's so cold. He couldn't sleep. He didn't have a blanket. I mean, thank God he had a jacket, but he had nothing, so he was tired. He had just been feeling like, I just want to give up, and that's why I told him, the Lord sent me here for you today. I just drove into this gas station. Didn't realize what I was doing. God sent me here for you because he loves you, because you're his son, because he knows every tear, every night that you've had out here, struggling to find somewhere to sleep, struggling to stay warm, feeling like giving up when the devil was trying to break him so bad so that he would just give up and feel like, I don't even want to be here anymore. Just take me, But the Lord didn't. I said, and now you know how I know that? Because you're sitting right here beside me right now. The fact that I'm able to talk to you, when how many of your friends, we were talking about some of his friends who had, struggled with addiction. I was like, how many friends do you know that the devil has taken them because of this addiction, right? But you're here beside me. You're able to talk to me. You're able to be aware to hear the words that I'm saying. And that means the Lord has not finished with you. He is not finished with you. And he wants to save you. He wants to come for you and for you to be saved, for you to surrender your life, your heart to him, so he can come and help you, because he knows how tired you are. He knows how tired you are. And he wants to give you rest. He wants to bless you. The devil wants to make you think that this is all you have, that this is how it's always going to be. He wants to make you think that how in the world am I going to get a place to live? How in the world am I going to get money and a job? It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. It's so hard. It's way too hard. It'll never happen. I said, and that's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie that he's been telling you for so long, to keep you discouraged, to make you lose hope. But the Lord has come today to give you hope. And do you want that? Do you want to give your life to him so that he can come in and help you? And he was like, yeah, like he's like, I'm tired. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. And he's like, I just want a warm bed. I just want a warm bed. And I was like, okay, awesome, great. I'm so happy. It was a long conversation, very long actually. And I said, I'm so okay. And I said, I'm going to ask the Holy Spirit to guide us in a prayer for you to give your life to him. It was a beautiful prayer. Beautiful. I wish I could have recorded our conversation. It was so beautiful. But at least I'm able to remember the main details to share with you guys. So I led him in a prayer, and he gave his life to the Lord. And it was incredible. It was incredible. There's more I want to share with you guys about that. But I want to go to the first scripture, which is in Proverbs 14:21. Proverbs 14:21, and it says, it is a sin to despise one's neighbor, but blessed is the one who is kind to the needy. It is a sin to despise one's neighbor, but blessed is the one who is kind to the needy. So this one is just so beautiful because, like I said in the beginning, some people, if you don't have compassion for what a homeless person is going through, you could look at them and think like, oh, that's disgusting. What's wrong with them? They deserve to be there. Anybody could get out of the situation, but you don't know. You don't know the demons that they have and that are tormenting them, not allowing